Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the sixth session of From St. Helens High School to College. This week, we're going to talk about ways to get involved on campus. My name is Alwyn. I use she, her pronouns. I am currently a senior at Portland State University with a math major and secondary education minor. I'm going to be graduating in 30 days, and then we'll turn right back around and start my grad program on the 21st of June. At the high school, I wear many different hats. Currently, my main role is that of Avid tutor, so I'm in the Avid classroom weekly. I also run the Learning Lab, which is usually an on campus in the library event after school, but it has been remote since we went remote last year. I also work the academic support events like the intercessions and Cocoa and Cram. And lastly, I volunteer my time as an Aspire mentor, where I work one on one with students who have dreams of going to college to make sure that they are doing the work needed to get there and make sure that they can navigate college once they get there. So it's hard to believe that we are more than halfway through my capstone. For those of you who have showed up in person, I appreciate that you taking the time to be here. And for those of you who have watched the recordings after the fact, I hope that you found some value in what I presented. So this week, we're just going to talk about different things you can do on campus to get involved and connect with other students. So topics we'll be covering are clubs, student government, cultural centers, sports, jobs and volunteer groups on campus, and then honor societies. So academic groups are a great way to connect with students in your major. I personally belong to the math club, which has been a little inactive since we went remote, but I was able to socialize with some people through that. And it's an opportunity to meet people in your major, but also you might find that you share common interests with those students as well. I have been participating in study groups as a result of my connections through math club. So again, those academic clubs, a great way to find study buddies for the rest of your degree program. Chances are you're going to see a lot of those same faces in your upper division classes. I have one student that I met in a random class the end of my sophomore year, and we've now taken 7 classes together. So a great way to make lasting friendships. I will probably stay connected with her well after we're both done with our grad program or with our undergrad program. There are also social clubs on campus. So a great way to find people to connect with outside of academia. So a sample of some clubs that I have seen on campuses, Rock Climbing Club, League of Legends Club, Nerd Alert, I was the vice president of that club for a very brief period when I first started PSU. I've seen D&D clubs, hiking clubs, gardening clubs. Really, there's probably at least one club on your campus uh, that you can join because you have an interest in it. And if you don't see a club that interests you, find an interest that you have that isn't being represented and start your own club. Chances are there's a couple students out there who have that same interest. And again, it's a chance for you to form friendships with like minded individuals. Student government is also a great way to get connected on campus. Um, there are the Associated Student Body, which is basically the student governing board on campus. This is the place where you're going to see your student body president, vice president, secretary, treasurer, and what other positions there are that comprise that governing board. They do a lot of activities on campus, typically involved in a Spirit Week, uh, Club Week, those type of activities. But they also rally together to bring projects and needs that students need on campus. So I was in student government at PCC. I didn't get involved at PSU because my major was challenging enough. But if you are the kind of person who likes to affect change in an academic setting, student government might be a great option for you. Additionally, campuses may have advisory boards. These are groups of individuals who are tasked with making recommendations to whatever their board's focus is. There's usually an application process if you are a student, and usually you're working with a combination of students, faculty, and either building administration or campus administration. I was part of the Smith Advisory Board at PSU, where we made recommendations for activities in the Smith Student Union building. And it was a great experience. And I am still connected to some of the people who were on that board as well. So if you enjoy student government, if you were a class leader in high school, this might be another way for you to find another family to belong to on campus. Next, I want to talk about diversity centers and cultural centers. I've provided a list here of a couple of each. Um, Truly, this list is not all inclusive. You are going to find way more of these types of centers on your campus, and they may vary from campus to campus. Uh, these are the three of each that I was personally aware of. But again, it's another way for you to connect with individuals based on how you identify, um, based on your family heritage. So um, if you want to connect with people who share a same trait or belief with you, this would be a great way to connect with those people. Sports is probably the area in which I have the least bit of information. I'm not a sporty person. However, if you played high school sports, try out for the collegiate team if one exists on your campus. Uh, you've been playing the sport, so you obviously have a love of the game. And this would be a great opportunity for you to connect with other players. And again, you're building that instant family on campus. There are also additional groups that you can join on campus. Some of them are paid working positions, and some of them you're just volunteering time. PSU has a campus bookstore. Most campuses have a campus bookstore. I actually worked at the Rock Creek PCC campus bookstore for most of my time there, and I am still connected to those people 5 years later. So if and you get a discount on books, so that's right there a bonus. They are paid positions. Campus radio and TV. We have a campus radio channel where DJs are students, and they have their own genre that they focus on. There are some talk shows on the campus radio channel. Getting involved in the library, that could be working or volunteering as a tutor, or if your campus has a writing center and you're really strong in writing, you can volunteer your time to the writing center to help other students who may be struggling in that area. Some campuses publish a newspaper or a magazine or some sort of journal. You could volunteer to be a reporter, and report on things happening on campus or in the local community. And then food service. Obviously, campuses that have dorms, there's going to be food service job opportunities on campus. And it may be paid, it may be unpaid. I have no experience in the food service on campus industry, but that would be something to look into. And then I want to talk about honor societies. So Phi Theta Kappa is the National Honor Society for students attending a 2-year community college. You must be invited to join. Usually, the prereq is you have to have taken at least 12 college level credits and maintain a specific GPA, and that really varies from campus to campus. This is the organization that I was a part of when I was at PCC. I actually served as their chapter president, and I continued along as an alumni officer as well. And I have virtually met people from around the globe because Phi Theta Kappa is actually an international honor society. So I've met a lot of people face to face at conventions and events, but I even have a larger base of friends just from being connected to that organization. And if you wanted to check out that organization, their website, which is on the screen, is www.ptk.org. And then we move to Phi Kappa Phi. Phi Kappa Phi is the National Honor Society for 4-year universities. And again, just like Phi Theta Kappa, you do have to receive an invitation to join. I am currently a member of Phi Kappa Phi. I joined last year. Haven't really interacted with the organization much, mostly because we've been remote for a year now, so we're not hosting activities on campus. And if you wanted to look more into Phi Kappa Phi, go to www.phikappaphi.org. And then lastly, your campus may have uh, honor societies based on your specific major or field of study. So that would be something you could go to your department heads and ask, or you could do a search in your campus's website. For instance, PSU does have a math honor society. It's currently inactive. It was inactive just before we went into remote learning and has not reactivated. So you may run into that situation. And if you want to get that uh, honor society up and running and you enjoy a leadership role, that would be another way to bring leadership into your role on campus is by trying to resurrect an otherwise inactive honor society chapter. In most cases, you do have to get a referral from a faculty advisor to join that. So none of the honor societies, you can't just go to a website and sign up for it. You have to be invited, and that invitation represents the fact that you have been screened and you have met the qualifications to join that honor society. And lastly, I don't want to forget the performing arts. For those of you who at the high school are involved in choir or band or theater, those things exist at the collegiate level as well. And what a great way to get to know students on campus. You know, most of these performing arts, it's not a one time and that's it for the year. Most of them are doing performances several times throughout the academic year. So it gives you a chance to improve your musical or your theatrical skill while getting to know a group of brand new people. So, again, all great ways to meet like minded students. So, in summary, college isn't just about academics. Obviously, that's a huge part of it, but it's also about figuring out who you are and how you want to change the world. And one way you can do that is by making connections with other students and finding your family. Um, when I was at PCC, my first year and a half of, of taking classes, I was uh, a lone person. I wasn't there to make connections with people. I was there to get my degree, and that was it. And then when I joined Phi Theta Kappa and then became chapter president, I realized that I'd been missing out on a lot by not putting myself out there and going out and meeting other students. So um, there are, as I said before, there is safety in numbers. You're coming from a fairly small school to a fairly large school, depending on where you're going. And chances are your best friend is not transferring with you. Maybe you're lucky and they are. And if that's the case, awesome. But um, it's important to find some people to connect with on campus. So the list that I provided in this video is not all inclusive. I'm sure that there are additional things you can do to connect with other people on campus. This is the list that came to my mind. Um, so, you know, if you have any questions about that, my email is on the slide. Feel free to shoot me an email. I'd love to talk to you about your questions. Or if you've had any questions about anything I've covered thus far, please reach out to me. I'm here to help you be successful. And then lastly, I just want to thank you for coming and supporting my senior capstone. Next week, we're going to be talking about finding resources on campus and not so much finding resources as navigating resources. So we'll be talking about things like advising and the library and financial aid and those type of resources that chances are you'll come into contact at least once during your time in college. So again, I would like to thank you for coming to my capstone, and I will see you next week. Bye.